Today we're talking about Black is, and it's basically we're going to define what Black means to us. So often society tells us what molds we should fit into. So for me, Black is life. And I say that because life is full of ups and downs and winding roads and hard times, but awesome times. And I feel like that's my definition of Blackness, because my Black is beautiful and it's empowering, but it's also so commonly causes like me pain. And it's not, it used to be because I didn't appreciate my Blackness. I didn't love my Blackness, and I think it was because of society and because I didn't know who I was or what all came with being Black. And now it's just like I freaking love it. And it's just like life, you know, like you just got to keep going, like with the good, the bad, but you know, like at the end it's all worth it, and it can be like whatever you make it. And I think that's what Black is. Like Black is whatever you make it, whatever you want it to be. And I think it's important for us to be able to like define our Blackness, to define ourselves, because there's so much power in the way things are defined. Like a word with no definition is non-existent. You know, the most powerful words, like the word excellent, like it's a good thing because of the way it's defined. A negative word is negative because of the way it's defined. So I think we have to recognize like the power that's in how we define things and like take that power back, because society doesn't love Blackness. So if we give society the power to define Blackness, we're giving them the power over the context of ourselves, the way we feel about ourselves. And I think it's just really important for us to be able to take that back and take that power back. So Black is life.
Yeah, okay. How are you gonna follow that one up?
Well, I had time to think about it.
For me, I feel like Blackness is strength, because Black people have had to endure so much, but we're still here, we're still surviving, and that's because of our inherent strength. And sometimes I have to remind myself that like the things that I'm going through, it's gonna make me stronger. And I know that sounds like so cliche, but you have to believe in that or you're just gonna give up. And I feel like there are so many opportunities to give up or good excuses to give up, but that inherent strength is why we continue. And I feel like also, you know, on the other side of that strength, some people are intimidated by that strength or feel threatened by that strength. And I feel like that plays into a lot of the reasons why we are so oppressed. And especially as Black women, I mean, within my experience with the Black community, like Black women are strong, but sometimes the media can represent that as being angry or being manly or not being feminine, and to be assaulted on all sides can kind of hurt sometimes. But my faith in the strength of Black people is what gives me peace and gives me hope, because I feel like regardless of anything else that's going on around us, we will survive and we will continue. And I think that makes us some of the strongest people on earth.
I agree.
I agree too.
Yeah, that's dope. For me, I think Black is just everything. And when I say that, I mean like it's everything in like the sense of the like slang where like, oh girl, you're everything. Like I mean it like that, but I also mean it like literally everything. Black is political, Black is cultural, Black is love, Black is pain, and it exists in all these different facets in like a super unique way. Like when I say Black is cultural, Black is culture to me. Like who in America, well, not to downplay other cultures, but like you know what I mean. You know what I mean? Like they're taking everything that they have is taken from us. Like this is our culture all around us, within music, arts, everything. And obviously in the political sense of we're just existing as a Black person, you are making a political statement you have to take some sort of political stance, whereas other people don't. They might necessarily have to do that, but as a black person, like, you have to constantly defend, not only take your political stance, but also defend your political stance. Even if you're not a political person, like, when, you know, President Obama was elected, like, you couldn't not vote for him, but you also couldn't vote for him without having to defend, like, oh, it's not just because he's black. You had to, like, back up that with knowledge of his politics as well, and, you know, so it's very sometimes, especially as a black woman, it's kind of hard, like you were saying, to get attacked from all sides, but that does just make you stronger. So black is strength as well.
Yes.
And in terms of just, like, the pain you were talking about, like, of course, sometimes, you know, it gets hard, but in that pain, I also do find hope. So, black is just everything to me. Yeah. Alright.
I agree. Black is, like, all-encompassing.
Yeah.
Especially, like, as a black person, like, there's no way to ignore your blackness.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, white people, I'm not gonna censor myself here. Like, white people don't have to think about the fact that they're a white person. Like, if you ask a white person what is it like to be white in this space, they just automatically just, like, say, you know, how they're, like, you know, they don't have to think about, like, their race in the context of, like, how it relates to other things. But, like, as a black person, you, like, you know, like, what it feels to be black within a space, or you know what it feels to be, like, black, like, like, anywhere you are, because, like, you can't ignore it. Like, society isn't gonna ignore it, so you can't ignore it, as you shouldn't.
And it's also that, just, like, that inherent, like, I do want to focus on that strength point, because, like, to be a black woman and to continue to bring black children into this world, you know, when throughout our whole time here, they may have been killed. You're a slave woman knowing that your child is going to be sold into slavery or, like, killed in slavery. You're a black woman now, and your child might be shot by the police. And to continue to have the strength to be a mother and to engage in motherhood, like, is,
Yes.
it's, you might think it's depressing, but I find inspiration in that, because, you know, like,
Yeah, I agree. Like, I was thinking about this the other night. Like, I freaking love black women, and, like, and the strength of it, because think of the population in this country, in the world, that wouldn't exist without black women. Like, just keeping it, like, within America, like, if black women didn't find the strength and the inspiration to continue to bear children, like, during slavery, if they didn't endure, if they weren't strong enough to endure that, like, none of us would be here.
Right.
So, it's crazy. And black women are so often, like, overlooked and underrated or ostracized. It's sad.
Right.
It's
That's a whole nother video.
It
Just
is,
like,
yeah.
existing as, not even just blackness in general, but existing as a black woman. I don't even know.
But I see where you guys are coming from, because I've toyed with this notion in my mind of, like, okay, I'm going to have black children one day. But I know that with the knowledge that I'm, like, my blackness is putting blackness on them, and that's going to cause them to have to go through some struggles. And, like, the good thing is that hopefully I'll be able to guide them through that. But I also recognize that each individual black person has a different experience, and they might face something that I've never experienced. And that's scary. That's really scary, because, you know, as a mother, as a parent, you want to protect your child. And, like, simply having a black child means that sometimes, like, their protection is out of your control. And I feel like a lot of other races, they don't really have to deal with that, particularly white people. Like, if my son or daughter has an encounter with the police, I'm in no position to protect them at all. And that's just terrifying. And that's why you have to teach them, you know, the rules of law and how to interact with policemen and just how to interact in life so that you can remain within my protection. And I feel like coming from, like, our childhood and not being sure of our identity, or, like, being unsure about our blackness or not so happy with it, we have a responsibility to our children, to the next generation, to make them feel whole before we did. Does that make sense? Earlier?
Yes.
Because if I would have had this realization earlier, I wouldn't have half the problems I have now.
I
Yeah,
totally
I
agree.